So here we are, finally, after what, about 3 months, finally trying to get together.
Yeah.
Finally got together for this brew. So obviously, this is a collaboration brew between myself, the Grimbarian brewer, and Jaggers Brewing Co. So obviously, this is our tropical stout collaboration, and I know we have come up with a name for it, haven't we? Was it?
Well, we tossed around a couple ideas. I think we kind of were floating the idea of like across the pond spout or something like that. The play on the deal of me being from the U.S. and you from the UK. So I thought that was awesome, but I don't know, man. I've had one sample of mine, and maybe we just discuss the name as we drink it,
Yeah.
see what comes to mind.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, from the ABV of the beer, like I say, I think there's going to be some creative names come up. So I'm not sure about that, but that's mine. There we are. So obviously that's been pulled off the ampoule. Literally just been put in the bag just a week ago. And obviously I did put some torrefied wheat in there too, for a bit of head retention. Just obviously for the ampoule and that. It is looking a bit thin at the minute, but I'm happy enough with it. It's got a nice creamy sort of toffee brown head. I don't know if you can see it. But I think you've poured is yours off keg or
Yeah, so mine has been in the keg for about week and a half, 2 weeks now, maybe. I have kind of the same thin, off white tan cream head.
yeah,
Um, Here's it in a different glass, and it a little bit thicker, but
yeah. I should have put mine in the same glass. I've got a glass like that as well. Um,
yeah, I like drinking out of these tulip glasses most of the time. You're able to get a lot more on the nose and
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
They are good for stouts. So what was the ABV on yours again?
Mine came in, I believe, right at 8.1.
Ah, right. I mean,
Uh,
mine coming at 7.6. My gravity readings
you
with
know what? I think I have that confused with another stout that I did. Let me look at mine. Let's see here. You'd have thought that I would have been a little bit more prepared. I normally am,
I was going to prepare all my stuff, but I'll go with the flow. I remember what.
right?
But yeah, I know.
Yeah, you got 7.6
Yeah,
is what you messaged me, and I think I came in right at 7 on mine.
yeah, um,
7.
yeah. Because I know my gravity readings was a bit lower on the original gravity, but obviously I know that it dropped a lot lower than what I thought. Because I know we was expecting a final gravity. I think it was around 10, 18, something like that. And I think
Yeah, I
mine got
believe so.
to 10, 10, 12, something like that. But obviously it's come out at 7.6. Um, so I'm still happy with it because obviously it's still a pretty strong beer as I was hoping for, really. But so what would you say yours is on the colour, roughly?
I mean, it's definitely there in that deep dark stout territory. I mean, there's no question about that. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, it's definitely like I say, mine obviously I can't see nothing through it at all. I mean, obviously, I have got a light to on, but obviously with
Yeah,
stouts, I know obviously you want that really dark colour anyway to it.
I think so when we were talking about the recipe originally and stuff like that, I think we had enough dark things in there for not only the grains but the like adjunct type
Yeah,
stuff. And I know that there was a little bit of a difference in some of the grains that you were able to get versus some
yeah,
of the ones that I was supposed to get.
yeah,
And maybe that is also a contributing factor to the ABV difference, because I used molasses
yeah,
in
yeah.
mine, and you weren't able to get molasses, correct?
No, I think over here they class molasses as black treacle, but I'm not 100%. But I think that's how to sort of compare it like between the two. Uh, So obviously, I mean, obviously compared to over in the States, what you can get to over here, obviously you get a lot of different stuff. So obviously, I think that's
Right.
what made it a little bit more trickier with certain bits.
Yeah,
Um,
molasses is a little bit easier for us to get a hold of here around
yeah,
here. It's grown a little closer, and and all the byproducts and stuff that make molasses
Yeah,
are around here,
yeah.
So
Well, that's it. But no, I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. But like I say, one of the malts I used in it was something called chocolate. Was it chocolate maroost? I've never heard of it before, but I know that I did use it as a bit of like substitute for a different malt that I didn't get. I can't remember what
I
it
think it
was,
was Special B, wasn't it? I think
but
you had trouble getting Special B.
I was going to get it. The website where I ordered my stuff from did special B, but the way I do mine, you do it by the recipe, so exactly how much you need. But he had something called Special W instead,
Oh
which is
yeah.
supposed to be very similar. And well, I reckon it's turned out, hopefully. But no, I'm ready for a bit of an aroma, smell and taste if you are.
Yeah, I've been sniffing this thing off and on.
Right.
I've got my own notes there. I want to see what you get first.
So straight away for me, I'm picking up that alcohol there. That's present, first thing that you get. But then I'm getting, as we spoke about, dark chocolate. That is very like right in your face. I think mostly that's what I'm getting is the dark chocolate. There's a very, very subtle like smell of coffee in there. It's not too strong. It's not that overpowering kind of in your face. But yeah, I think the most present aroma there is dark chocolate and um like what was it once said? Dark chocolate and well coffee. But yeah, I think that's what I'd say. Dark chocolate and coffee is the most present aroma there for me.
So on mine, the very first bit of aroma that I get is banana.
Yeah.
Like a sweet banana. Then it just kind of rolls into like that chocolate, and then kind of seems to get like a little bit darker, like the darker chocolate coffee. And then I pick up on the alcohol as the last bit on mine. And it's just like ever so slightly like a touch of alcohol that I can
Yeah.
smell.
That sounds quite an interesting aroma, that sweet banana. That's definitely an interesting one. But I noticed when this fermented out using that Irish ale yeast, that just absolutely ripped through this beer. Like it weighs so well. I was quite shocked. Um, I mean, it was just such a vigorous fermentation. It's a yeast I'd definitely use again, without a doubt. But I'm ready for the first tasting.
Oh yeah.
Right, right.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm getting that bitterness right at the back of the throat, but that aroma of the dark chocolate, you really get that in the flavour. It almost coats your tongue.
Yeah.
There's quite a fair bit of bitterness there, but obviously I'm drinking it at room temperature, so whether that's going to affect it. But obviously it's not too warm, but you really get that coating of it. I'm getting a slight little hit of the hops in there. Not too much, but you do get it in the back a little bit. But it's not massive. But I think maybe if I was to get more of the flavour of the hops come through, I'd probably have to drink it a bit colder just to get it. But it's got a slight dryness there too.
To me, it where mine finished as far as the finishing gravity, I think I finished like right around like I think it was 1023 or
Right.
so. And then so I kegged mine and then I force carved it, and then I texted you or messaged you the next day
Yeah.
and was like, holy crap, dude, like this thing, like it's bitter,
Yeah.
and I was like, to me it tastes drier than it actually is, at 1020. I wouldn't have thought that this is a 1020 beer.
No.
And I think that's all those chocolate notes and things that you're picking up. Like it has that false sense of dryness to it.
Yeah. 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 I definitely agree with that. But yeah, you do get that real dryness to it. But I think, in my opinion, that's everything that a stout should be. Like you get that sort of bitterness there, you get your chocolate, you get your coffee, and I think that's exactly what you sort of expect. So yeah, that is pretty good. But if I had to compare it like to a dark chocolate bar over here, I don't know if you get it in the States, something called Bourneville.
I'm not familiar with that, but so normally, like when we buy chocolate bars, we normally try to go for those dark,
Yeah,
like cocoa type chocolate bars. We don't try to get the milk chocolate here in my house, anyways.
yeah,
We try to look for cooking with and that
yeah,
kind of stuff too. Uh, and this kind of reminds me of something that's very similar to
yeah,
that train of thought as far as almost equally taste.
yeah. I mean, like I say, if I had to compare that to a chocolate bar we get over in the UK, I'd say something called Bourneville. Obviously, it's a dark chocolate, it's rich in flavour, and I think that's what you're sort of picking up in this. So I think that's what I'd have to compare it to, like on the chocolate side to it, with the dark chocolate. It's that richness, it's that bitterness, it's that sort of strength we'd expect, but it's almost like that, but in a glass. So I think that's how I'd sort of explain it. Um, but no, I've got to say I'm impressed with that, and it was definitely well worth the wait for the
I'm
tasting.
I'm pretty happy with mine. I know when I that first taste test that I gave to you, I was like, there's a certain taste that I couldn't identify. Then like 15 minutes later, I messaged you back and I was like, it's the molasses. That's
Yeah.
what it is. And now I don't really taste it at all. I think it's kind of matured and
Mm.
gotten like embedded in there well enough that it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is one that obviously because I've got it in the bag for the hand pump, and obviously I've got some bottles. So I think what I might do is put some bottles to one side, just let it really mature out for maybe a
Yeah.
few months. I mean, because at that kind of strength, it's going to mature well. So if I leave it for a while, I would like to revisit that maybe in about 3 to 6 months and see if it is picking up different flavours. Because obviously with stouts, as I say, it gets better with age. And I think
Right.
with that, obviously, it will definitely be one that will improve a lot. And I think you'll pick up a lot more flavours. So, yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what it's going to be like in time when it has really matured out. But even drinking it young, there's still a lot of flavour there.
I
So,
took this. I took this to. I put it in a growler and I took it to a pool party
mm,
last weekend and I shared it and everybody was like, "Is that Guinness?" I'm like, "No, this isn't Guinness." But thank you for the compliment, I guess.
I've just been like, it's like Guinness, but a million times better.
Right. And everybody's like, "Oh, you made this," and I was like, "Yeah." So, uh, I don't predict that my version anyway, sticking around the house for very long with all my thirsty friends.
Yeah, well,
So
I mean, luckily for me, I mean, a lot of people I know don't really drink stout, so it's a win-win situation for me.
right. Well, so the myself and my friends were kind of heathens, and we'll drink stouts during the summer,
Yeah,
and like it's like 103 degrees outside, and we'll
yeah.
we'll be drinking it here in a little bit. So
I mean, for me, I mean, I know a lot of people say stick to like the colder months for stouts, but
yeah,
it's like even now, like if I've got a stout and it's at the right temperature, I can quite happily enjoy stout when it is hot. Do you know what I mean? I don't
yeah.
really mind.
If you're not pounding them, then what does it matter?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But
But no, that's
so I was curious after brewing this and now that we've had a chance to do some taste tests and some trading out of the notes, what would you do different here brewing this beer?
um, I don't know. I mean, the flavour. I mean, like I said, the aromas there, the flavours there. I don't know if there would be anything that I would change as such. Um, but in saying that, I think if I was to do anything, I'd maybe drop down the chocolate malts a little bit on like how much has gone into it. Um, but I think that's all I'd mostly do. But obviously for mine, I think if I was to, I'd probably lower down the chocolate malt a little bit, but then I'd maybe go a little bit higher on the torrefied wheat just for the head retention on the end pull. Because obviously the head's starting to go off a little bit, but they're not
Yeah.
obviously at the same time. It could be something to do with the ABV in the beer.
Well,
But no,
mine still has a really thin head, still just
yeah.
barely.
What would you change if you was to change anything?
I I agree with that. I think drop back a little bit on those roasted dark malts,
Yeah,
tone that back a little bit. I probably would almost kill that hop stand. I don't because I'm not picking up on any of the like the fruity esters
no,
that we should have gained from it. I think
yeah,
it's just lost in all that dark chocolate roasted type malts. I think there's just too much going on for it to overcome that.
yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those like the more you drink of it, like you are getting more of the chocolate kind of flavour. You're not really picking up the hops as such.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
It,
it's a shame, but like I say, I think if it was just a bit lower on the roasted malt, the chocolate malts, then yeah, I reckon it probably would be a bit more present. But I mean, I don't think I'd go too heavy on the hops because I wouldn't want to make it too bitter with the hops. And then obviously, 'cause
right.
I think if you get a stout that's too bitter and the hops, you're just going to get a beer that you're just not going to be able to enjoy or drink.
Would you say that this thing is in balance or out of balance?
Yeah, I'd say it's in balance enough with the malts, but I think it's just the hops that aren't really like showing in the beer too much.
They're not present.
No,
Yeah, because
no,
because we did bittering hops, and then we did basically more of like the flavorful uh steeping hops. We're trying to just get all those juices and try to pull in like those tropical type notes that you would pick up from that. And
yeah,
so
but yeah, I think that's what I'd probably do. Like say, just sort of lower down the malts a little bit on the most. It'd be the roasted malts that I'd lower down the most.
right.
But then I think if need be, if there was a way of doing it, putting the putting a little bit more hops in it, so it's not too bitter. Uh, but doing it so you're actually picking up some of the fruity flavours. Like obviously with the Vic Secret, you're expecting some pineapple in there, and then your
Right.
citrus and that kind of notes from the citra. So I think that's what I try to do it so you can do it where you get that chocolate flavour, but then in the back you sort of get that hit of like the pineapple and stuff. So you have got that nice sort of fruity sort of notes there. But I mean, when I was fermenting it, I was getting a lot of the hoppy sort of notes coming off it from out the barrel. And
Yeah.
like, I got the aroma and I was just like, well, do you know what I mean? If it smells like that, it's going to taste just as good. But
Right, yeah,
then,
because I was getting like mango and the
yeah,
banana and the all that kind of stuff
yeah,
too. Like when it was just fermenting out, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a fruit bomb. This is gonna be out of style actually for the beer, even though it's like tropical stout. Tropical stout shouldn't be fruity. I was just trying to incorporate some of that stuff in this
yeah,
beer,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like I say, I was picking up loads of the hoppy notes in the when it's fermented, but I'm just surprised how quick it's sort of gone from that and it's sort of gone. Because when I bottled it up last week and put it in the bag, I opened it up and I was a bit like, oh, some of that hoppy kind of aroma's gone. And it was strange how it disappeared, but mate, it could be interesting maybe get trying a little dry off on it. That'd be an interesting little thing.
yeah. Yeah, that would.
Yeah,
And when we were talking about the different things that we were gonna do, and like I kept going back and forth if I was gonna do Quake or not.
yeah,
And man, I think if I'd have used Hornadol Quake on this, I think that would have kind of brought in some of those fruity esters in
yeah.
this beer.
I
So
mean, I think I would have used that, but obviously because I ain't got a proper fermentation fridge or anything, I just don't want to be using a yeast one that won't gonna ferment how it should do. You know what I mean? But obviously, because just recently, I mean, I think if we would have brewed it a couple of weeks ago, and I'd fermented it earlier in the week, because we was getting 40 degrees Celsius around here. So I
mm,
think if I would have fermented it then, I reckon within 2 days it would have been done and it would have been good. But obviously the temperature at the time when I fermented it all out, it just wasn't hitting them kind of temperatures. So I just don't think it would have. I mean, the flavour might have been there, but I just don't think it would have powered like given enough sort of like flavour to it. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it would have got fermented how it should do for Kvayak.
so with Quake, and I know I'm a weird duck with it, but so like I don't chill
Yeah,
automatically. And so like when I get down to my pitching temperature, which normally is 93, 95 degrees Celsius. I think that, or Fahrenheit. I think that's like 35 Celsius,
It's,
thereabouts.
yeah, it was something like that. 'Cause I know what we are in the States, obviously, because I know you go by Fahrenheit, don't you?
Yes.
So I think like 100 over there. I don't know how much of a difference there is, but I know there's quite a big difference between
It's,
obviously.
I think like 95 is like 35 for you guys in Celsius, I
Yes,
believe. So like I'll pitch directly from my kettle once it hits 95 degrees Fahrenheit,
yeah,
and then I've got an insulated bag with two like heating pads that you
yeah,
put on your shoulder or something like that, and then I just let it truck on for a week.
yeah,
I'm not normally in a big hurry, and most of the fermentation is going to be done in probably 2-3 days, and all those esters and stuff like that
yeah,
with quake is probably done in the first day.
yeah,
So like whatever your flavor profile from the yeast is going to be done is done,
yeah.
you know. But I've had some crazy luck with some of the different strains there, but it's a fun ride though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think homebrewing's one of those. Like, say, if you don't experiment, do you know what I mean? You're never gonna know what it's gonna be like if you don't actually try. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the best thing about homebrewing. Obviously, you can make your own beer, you can do it exactly how you want it. Experiment. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause at the end of the day, it's you brewing it. It's what you
Yeah,
want to try yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's only going to turn out how you're hoping. If it works out exactly how you hope it's going to work out, it's a win-win situation every time. So you can't complain. But no,
another good thing about homebrewing,
go on.
two people across the world can get together, the same recipe, and then share a beer virtually.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about, though.
Yes, sir.
From two, let's say, two different parts of the world. Let's say sharing a beer. But no, I'm happy with that. Let's say I'm glad we managed to get together to do the brew and obviously for a virtual tasting. So it's definitely been a pleasure being able to get on video like this for you and to put it
Yeah,
on YouTube and, do you know what I mean, share the recipe for other people to try. So,
sure. Absolutely. I'm curious to see what other people have to say about the recipe, what they would change. If they've brewed something similar, it'd be cool to kind of compare some notes and
yeah,
maybe make some corrections or whatever,
yeah, exactly. Like I say, I mean, I'll end up putting the recipe out, like I say, to anybody that wants to try it, and then, like I say, if they want to sort of mess around with it, see what works for them, and then obviously, if whoever's watching, if it works for you, hit us up. Do you know what I mean? It's always a way. It's way rebrewing it a different way, and then obviously you can compare the two. So
Well, the bottom line is regardless, even if you take the same recipe, the same temperatures and
yeah,
everything, it's going to be a different beer anyways.
yeah,
There's always going to be some variable,
yeah,
but you know, it is what it is.
exactly. It is what it is. But no, it's definitely been a pleasure. So I mean, oh, meeting. But no, if you're happy to wrap this up for
Sure.
YouTube, like I say, I'm more than happy to. But no, it's definitely been a pleasure. Anybody watching, like I say, go check out Jaggers Brewing Co. Obviously, just go subscribe. Like I say, get him up there. His videos are up there. Like I say, they're great. So I don't know if you just, there's not enough people that are subscribing to like all the channels that should be like having more subscribers. And obviously, I think with the quality of your videos and how well you put them together, you're obviously you should have like loads of people just hitting that subscribe button, just getting there.
Well, I've been doing it just under a year, and really, I'm happy where I'm at now. Of course, it's never enough. I'd like to have that bigger fan base and
Yeah,
help create that knowledge and build the community.
yeah.
You've got me curious about that hand pump back there. I'm gonna have to hit you up on
Oh,
some techniques eventually.
oh yeah, definitely. Like I say, I'm only a message away. Like I say, if you get one, you need
Oh no,
anything, just let me know.
yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, cheers, buddy.
Well, cheers, mate, and it's been a pleasure catching up
Yes,
with you
sir.
and having a drink with you too from the other side of the world. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cheers everyone for watching, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video. And like I say, don't forget to subscribe. Dragons Brewing Co. Right.
Thank you.
Cheers.